The first time a child is left alone, the house changes. Walls that once felt protective begin to breathe differently. Corners stretch longer. The air itself feels like it is holding secrets. This is where these stories begin. Not with screams or monsters, but with silence so heavy it presses against a child's chest. These are true memories carried into adulthood, moments when childhood innocence collided with fear, and fear quietly shaped strength. Tonight is not only about what terrified us, but about what fear taught us when no one else was home to protect us. Moments that carved awareness, courage, and resilience into young hearts that didn't yet know those words. One man remembers being 8 years old, sitting on the living room floor with toy cars scattered around him, sunlight fading through the curtains as his parents' car disappeared down the street. At first, it felt like freedom. He turned the TV louder than usual, laughed to himself, and enjoyed the strange thrill of being alone. Then the daylight shifted. The house began to sound alive. The ticking clock felt deliberate, as if it was counting down to something. The refrigerator clicked and hummed like a throat clearing in the dark. Then came the sound that froze him completely, the slow, unmistakable twist of the front doorknob. His breath caught, his mind raced. Someone was trying to get in. He slid off the couch and crawled beneath the dining table, pressing his hands over his mouth to silence his breathing. His heart pounded so hard he was sure whoever was outside could hear it. Minutes dragged on, stretching painfully, until the sound stopped. Later he learned the door was old, the wind strong enough to move it slightly. But in that moment, fear taught him something no adult lesson ever could. It sharpened his senses, forced him to listen carefully, to distinguish between imagination and reality. That fear did not break him. It trained him. Fear is often painted as something to escape, something shameful, something that proves weakness. But in childhood, fear is often the first real teacher. When adults are gone, there is no one to explain away the sounds, no one to turn on extra lights, no one to tell us we are safe. We are forced to confront the unknown with only our instincts. That child under the table learned patience before panic. He learned how to stay still, how to listen, how to breathe through terror. Years later, as an adult facing real danger, he realized his calm under pressure was born in that quiet house. Fear had trained him long before he understood it. In the stillness of being home alone, fear awakened awareness. It taught him that not every sound is a threat, but every sound deserves attention. Fear became a tool, not an enemy. Another story comes from a woman who remembers being left alone one rainy afternoon when she was 9. The rain muffled the outside world until the house felt sealed off from reality. No television, no music, just silence so deep it rang in her ears. That silence became unbearable. Her thoughts grew louder, darker. She imagined someone standing behind her every time she turned around. She checked the hallway again and again, convinced the shadows were shifting. Eventually she curled up on her bed, clutching a pillow, whispering to herself just to break the silence. Nothing happened that day, no intruder, no ghost. But the silence taught her a powerful lesson. It revealed how the mind can become its own source of terror. Years later, she learned how to calm her thoughts, how to ground herself in reality. That childhood fear became the foundation for emotional control. Silence no longer scared her. She learned to master it. A man recalls a summer evening when the power went out while he was home alone at age 10. Darkness swallowed the house instantly. No lights, no fan, no comforting glow from electronics. The house became unfamiliar, as if it had transformed into a different place. He heard something fall in the kitchen, a soft clatter that echoed too loudly in the dark. His instinct screamed at him to run outside, to escape, but he stayed. He sat still on the couch, counting his breaths, telling himself not to move until he understood what was happening. When the power returned hours later, he discovered a cup had simply fallen from the counter due to vibration from thunder. That night, he learned courage doesn't always mean action. Sometimes it means staying where you are, refusing to let fear control your movement. That quiet endurance stayed with him for life, helping him face difficult moments without fleeing. There is a story whispered among families about a boy who believed something lived in the hallway when he was alone. He saw it once, or thought he did, a tall shadow stretching along the wall. Unmoving, watching, he hid in his room until his parents returned, shaking and silent. Years later, he realized that shadow was cast by a coat rack and a passing car's headlights. But the experience never left him. Instead of destroying him, it fueled his imagination. He became an artist, turning fear into images, darkness into creativity. The same imagination that once terrified him became his greatest gift. Fear didn't steal his mind, it sharpened it. Ego remembers locking herself in the bathroom when she was 7 after hearing a window rattle while she was alone. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She waited. Later, she discovered the window latch had been loose. That small act of fear-driven awareness became instinct. As an adult, she noticed dangers others overlooked. Fear had trained her to be alert, to protect herself. Vulnerability had awakened her awareness. One of the most haunting stories comes from a boy left alone overnight, unexpectedly when his parents were delayed by a storm. He spent hours pacing the house, checking doors, staring out windows, jumping at every sound. He barely slept. When morning came and his parents returned, he didn't cry, he felt different, stronger. Something inside him had changed. He had survived his fear. That night became a silent turning point. From then on, he trusted himself more. Fear had tested him, and he had endured. Many adults remember how being alone as a child made them appreciate the presence of others. After fear, warmth feels deeper. Safety feels sacred. A child who once trembled in an empty house often grows into an adult who values family, connection, and protection more deeply. Fear teaches gratitude. It reminds us what safety truly means. Every one of these stories carries the same truth. The house may have been empty, but something was growing inside those children. Fear carved awareness. Silence shaped self-control. Darkness revealed courage. Imagination transformed into creativity. Survival built confidence. Those moments didn't end in screams or tragedy, but in quiet strength that followed them into adulthood. If you are listening and remembering your own childhood fears, the nights you lay awake convinced something was watching, the afternoons when every sound made your heart race, know this, you are not weak for remembering them. You are strong because you lived through them. Those moments when you felt alone were shaping your ability to stand on your own. Fear did not ruin you. It prepared you. It taught you to listen, to wait, to observe, to endure. It taught you how to carry light into dark rooms. May every listener who still carries childhood fear find peace in knowing it was never meaningless. May courage rise where fear once lived. May awareness replace anxiety. May hope settle where panic once grew. And may God protect every child who feels alone tonight, wrapping their homes in safety, their hearts in strength, and their future in resilience, guiding them gently through the dark, reminding them they are never truly alone even when the house is silent and the lights are out and the shadows seem closer than they should be and the night feels endless and the heart is racing and the only sound left is breathing and faith waiting quietly to be felt.